Good afternoon, everyone. Next Generation Weather Forecaster Joe Shaka taking a look at my updated summer forecast here for the Northeast and really the country as a whole. And looks like there is some disagreement within the models of how much heat there will be, but I believe there will be enough heat across the country for a warmer than normal summer. So let's take a look at some of the guidance here that we have available and investigate this. So here's the Canadian SIPs. This is the 3-month average, June through August. You can see the core of the heat, at least here, is forecasted plains. While the Northeast is still, looks like, I guess, about 1C above normal, but you can see what the Canadian SIPs forecast idea is for the core of the heat to be centered in the country, but a warm summer overall for the lower 48. And that shows up pretty nicely here in the 500 millibar pattern. You can see the big heat ridge here dominated over the plains. And this is actually a pretty good favorable pattern for mesoscale convective systems. The ring of fire may set up at periods during the summer where you can get these big complexes of thunderstorms that rotate around the big plains, upper level ridge that come across the periphery of that. So that's what the model looks like at 500 millibars. You can see a core of a ridge here and another piece here, but that is a very warm pattern. Now the surface pressure looks like this, screams heat, low pressure here, higher than normal pressures here in the West Atlantic. The strong Bermuda Ridge continues to pump in more warmth to the lower 48, so that is a very, very warm look. The precipitation looks like this. Looks like it's dry, and when it is dry, you can get really warm relative to normal, so that is screaming warm. The NMME climate model looks like this. Again, warmth favor in the plains. Again, widespread warmth for the nation, but the highest anomaly centered in the plains. Precipitation looks like this. You can see the dry signal, if you will, dry streak showing up here in the plains as well. Now, the CFSV2 is the more, if you will, the more of the outliers that I've seen so far from the climate models, which suggest cool anomalies here or normal in the plains. You know, a couple patches of warmth, but the warmth focus here. And I believe that this is what the Climate Prediction Center is mainly using their forecast off of what I saw in their seasonal outlook. Warm out west and warm here in the northeastern part of the United States. So there's what the CFS looks like for the 3-month period. 500 millibars, you can see the weakness here, ridge axis here. Precipitation, you can see a lot of water relative to normal loading up here, so that will favor cooler conditions where it rains a lot. You can see the northeast and the west is dry relative to normal. And all of that guidance, including the European, which I do have, but I am not able to share due to the privacy issues over at EC. But it also favors a lot of warmth in the eastern and western part of the United States with some cooler temperatures centered in the plains. Actually pretty similar to the CFSV2, in matter of fact. Now, what also I'm taking into consideration here is that we're coming out of the La Nina. You also saw this in the hurricane forecast I did yesterday, but we're going to talk about it again more for temperatures. So we're coming out of the La Nina. We're going to work our way into a neutral warm, if not a Madoki El Nino by the fall. You have all this warm water here in the western Atlantic, which favors a ridge. You know, as the wavelengths shorten, all these warm waters favor higher thicknesses, so that will favor a ridge, I believe, over the eastern part of the United States. And the warm water that will continue to develop out here will also favor a ridge, and then you'll have the mean trough position in between. So this does favor, and it looks like looking at the climate models that this warm water will be holding off the west coast and off the east coast here. So that does favor a ridge in that part of the country. Now, all the guidance taken into consideration, June through August, the 90-day period, I think that in New England here will be 1 to 2 C above normal for temperatures for the 3-month period. Again, that was issued today, May 8th. So let's see how this works out, you know. These transition years, you know, sometimes a forecast will work, sometimes forecasts don't work. So it always makes it fun to forecast, and that's why I love doing what I do. So we'll see how this forecast works out, but I do, again, favor a warmer and slightly drier than normal summer here in the Northeast. That's it for now, and thank you for watching.